Some solid export numbers and some help from wheat helped corn make some gains on Thursday. How could we end this week? Michelle Rook is back to discuss it in Markets Now.
A higher day Thursday in the greens. Dave Chatterton with Strategic Farm Marketing is joining us. And Dave, wheat was the price leader. It looked like putting in a little more premium.
Yeah, Michelle, kind of an interesting day. We've been kind of lamenting, at least in our shop, kind of the lack of fresh news and a little bit of a lackluster trade here of late. But that kind of changed in the afternoon on Thursday, or during the session Thursday, I should say, when we got reports from the Lloyd Shipping Group out of London that a general cargo ship had encountered a seaborne mine en route to Ukraine. Now, to be fair, this ship was traveling outside of the recently outlined humanitarian corridor from Ukraine. It had left from Turkey and was crossing the strait in that manner. The ship didn't sustain, a lot of damage. It stopped for a while and then resumed its journey here. But certainly that was enough to get the attention of the trade on Thursday afternoon. And in a situation where, wheat is still near those multi-year lows, we still have a pretty large fund short exposure in the corn and the wheat. We saw some pretty aggressive short covering.
No doubt. And of course, that spilled over into the corn market, caused some short covering there perhaps, but we got above some chart resistance. So now can we keep going?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think today's action and Friday will be very key in doing that. Seasonally, this, first half of October is prime time for carving out that seasonal harvest low and for the markets to get a good 30, 35, 40 cent rally in corn. So whether we can do that, I think is still a little bit questionable. We've got a key USDA report coming up next Thursday where the focus is again on U.S. yield and on the demand components in the balance sheet. So I'm not sure that we're out of the woods yet, but certainly technically you have to let that action stand on its own today, regardless of what happens in Ukraine. And the news there is getting a little bit more positive as we go.
Yeah. What about the soybean market? We've had a pretty good correction here. Do you think we have more downside? And did soybeans just follow corn and wheat on Thursday?
Yeah, I think a little bit of a reluctant follower there, Michelle. And, the soybean balance sheet we know is tight. We know the USDA will confirm that again next week. But I think it's a question of exports. This October, November, December time period is kind of go time for U.S. soybean exports. And we are really falling behind year-to-date export sales right now versus last year, 34% behind the pace we were at last year. The USDA is calling for a 10% year-on-year decline. So we've got some ground to make up there. And I think the market is concerned that there's just not going to be enough time nor enough water in the river to kind of close that gap before we get to January and start focusing on corn at the Gulf.
That is so true. It's really been a focus. All right. Thanks for joining us, Dave Chatterton with Strategic Farm Marketing. That's Markets Now, and we'll have more AgDay coming up.